All right. It looks like we're all set. Okay, so let's go over a bit what we've been talking until now. If you remember, we've been talking for the last three Mishnayot about the sayings of Hillel, and now we are moving on to his partner, Shammai, who's also a very well-known and prominent leader of the Jewish people. We know of Bet Shammai, so a school of thought. He also established a school of thought um, that later it's their students of Hillel and Shammai. These two schools of thought, we are given many examples throughout the Mishnah of how they disagreed on various different things. Um, Hillel and Shammai themselves didn't have too much, or at least we're not aware of too much disputes that went on between them, but it's the schools of thought that they led that later broke down into more and more disagreements between these two schools of thought. Um, but yet, one of the main things we're told, and we're not going to discuss this now, is that even though they disagreed, Bet Hillel and Bet Shammai, I don't remember whether it's the Mishnah or the Gemara, but they say, Lo nimneu lakachat elu mimnoteni shel elu. So they didn't refrain or stop from intermarrying. And I think that comes to teach us an even greater lesson, that it's not just that they had arguments and that they said, all right, we can sit down and argue and we can still sit down on each other. I think the Mishnah or the Gemara, whatever it is, that is saying this and is saying they didn't refrain from intermarrying, meaning that they still saw that they have a combined future. And that's why they were willing to say, okay, you can have my daughter, you can have my son. We're still building a future together. And that's one of the examples we're given, and I think we'll touch on that later, in later Mishnayot, about the difference between a machloket l'shem shamayim and a machloket shelo l'shem shamayim. So a dispute that is for the name of the heavens, or let's just say a dispute in order to really understand what is the right way to move forward, as opposed to a dispute that that revolves around ego and selfish needs. But that's just as a side note. Let's see what Shammai says. Okay, so does anyone want to read the first source?
Mishnah, Avot chapter 1, Mishnah 15. Shammai says, make your Torah study a fixed practice. Say little and do much, and receive every person with a pleasant countenance.
Okay, great. So Shammai, again, in the true fashion of Pirkei Avot, is saying three different things. Okay? Aseh toratcha keva, אמור מעט ועשה הרבה, והווה מקבל כל אדם בסבר פנים יפות. That's the Hebrew version of it. And we'll see that this can be, understood in various different ways. But before we dive into the Bartanura, let's see a chapter from Sefer Yirmiyahu that also, we'll see the Bartanura later explains how, that also talks about these three attributes, or these three midot that need to be in a person. Okay, now Shammai here is saying it on the positive aspect, right? He's saying what you should be doing. Make your Torah study a fixed practice. Say little and do much, right? That's an active, or he's saying this is what you should be doing. Yirmiyahu says it in a bit of a different way. He says what not to do. Thus said the Lord, Ko amar Hashem, Let not the wise man glory in his wisdom, nor let the mighty man glory in his might, nor let the rich man glory in his riches. Okay, so if we are to look at the Bartanura, where we get to that, no, we'll get to that at the end. Let's look at the Bartanura and his commentary on the entire saying of Shammai. Okay, so Aseh Toratcha Keva, make your Torah study a fixed practice. Let your main occupation day and night be Torah. And when you are tired from learning, do work. But do not make your main occupation work, and the study of Torah only when you have time for work. And I found it written, make your Torah study a fixed practice. Do not be strident with yourself and lengthened with others, or straitened with others and lengthened with yourself, but your Torah should be fixed for you just as for others. So it says in Ezra, for Ezra had said his heart to study the Torah of the Lord and practice it, and to teach statutes and ordinance in Israel. Just as he prepared his heart to act, so he taught the people of Israel. Okay, so the Bartanura is touching here on two possible explanations for make your Torah study a fixed practice, or Aseh Toratcha Keva. The one is, make it your main interest. Okay? Make it that all your day revolves about learning Torah. And when you're exhausted or you need a break from learning Torah, that is when you should be working. That is when you should be, making a living and making and earning. That's the first explanation. Is okay. Divide your time in a way that most of what you're doing revolves around Torah. Okay. Now, I think that is a little bit of a high demand in nowadays, right?
Yeah.
We're so used to, right? You're also obligated by many places. You sign a contract. You work 40 hours a week. Okay, so from 9 to 5 you'll be working. Right, that doesn't leave you much time of the day, and you still need to sleep to keep your strength, and you still need to eat, and you still need to do other things, and run your errands, and I don't know, whatever it is you need to do. So how does that play a part nowadays, where we're so immersed in a culture that won't really let you act this way? Okay, maybe back in the time of Bartanura, but I don't think even back then. But maybe in years past, there was a time where a Jew can say, all right, my main business is in Torah. I can work for 2-3 hours a day, go to my farm, and I'll eat from there. But nowadays, that's a little tough. So I would like to hear your thoughts. How can we bring that to practice today?
And tefillah. The tefillah.
Okay.
The morning, afternoon, evening.
So you're saying because you have set times in the day, then, or because you have a cycle that follows you throughout the day,
Yes.
that it makes your whole day revive around that.
Exactly.
Okay, that's a possible explanation. More thoughts?
Reading everything once, you are too favorite, you can get 1 hour and do a little bit of study.
All right. So you're saying just the fact that you even have a little bit of time, that's good enough? Because that's all you can get nowadays? All right.
So speak on part of the children, like the mitzvah is like you, from Deuteronomy, like you shall teach your children each and every moment, each and every time. You wake up with the Torah, you live with it, you eat through it, you sleep through it. So I think you should ingrain it from right from the start. And like your parents would have read it within your heart and soul, mind. So should you do the same with your children?
So you're saying once you say, right, let's put the focus on the next, if we put the focus on the next generation, that already means that most of what we're doing will revolve around Torah.
Yeah, because the mitzvah is like you sleep through it, you eat through it, you walk with it, like every time.
Okay, so
I
I
think have another one. In the prayers, like in Shakarit, there's a portion that once you read, it's like you completed the Torah mitzvah from the study Torah. So I think that also accounts to Torah study.
Even the Shema itself is the Torah. So it's the Torah.
yes. Okay, I'm agreeing with everything you say, but I want to add on that, and I think this is what you were trying to get at, is that I think especially nowadays, but even back then, it all starts with your attitude. Okay, what you put in your, I'd say, set of or your hierarchy of importance. Where do you put your Torah? Okay, is it set at top, or is it something that you say, oh, it's something I do when I have time? All right, and if you say, I set it on top, but you know, we have to eat, we have to sleep, we have to do all these other um, worldly things that are not studying Torah, but still it's set for you on top. I think that affects everything you do, okay, and a lot to do with what you've said, that then that guides you through every action you do through the day. Because at the end of the day, we see that we believe and we know that Torah really guides you in every step of the way, right? There are certain things, you wake up in the morning, first thing you should do is say Modeh Ani. That already, within itself. Okay, first of all, it's a set time of day, which is one of the ways to explain of make your Torah a fixed practice. Have a set time in the day at which you say, no matter what, I don't know, from 5:30 to 6:30 in the morning, this is the time I study Torah. No matter what. That's one of the ways to explain it. But another way is say every morning when I wake up, right? Every morning when we wake up, you brush your teeth and you wash your face. Okay, that's said in you that you wake up one day and you can't. Your whole day looks the same, different. All right, the same goes for the Torah. Wake up in the morning, you say Modeh Ani, that already a change of mindset for your entire day, and then as you said, that guides you through the entirety of the day. Okay, so the way you'll daven Shachris is different, and the way you'll go, and even the way you'll conduct your business, everything. Once you have that in mind, turns into this part of your studying Torah, because you're saying, okay, this Torah is the most important thing for me, and what is the Torah guiding me to do on this next step? Okay, and from there you'll get to things like not taking bribery or conducting your business fairly and making sure it's safe, all these different stuff. Okay, now another way he explains it is to make it a fixed practice, meaning we'll say practice what you preach. Okay, you're saying this is what the Torah commands us to do. Okay, so don't be easy on yourself or hard on others or the other way around. Okay, if you believe or if you find that or your rabbi says that this is the mitzvah and this is how it should be done, right? Remember we talked about Aserech Harav, the importance of having a rabbi. That's the way it should be done. That's the way you see it to be fit. That's what you should be demanding from everyone. All right. So obviously, it's easier to influence your kids, as you mentioned before, but also I think it also has to do with the standards you put in place for the people around you. Okay, so um, if that also brings us to a place of um, maybe towards the what Shammai is saying at the end of this Mishnah is once you have that in your mind that okay the Torah applies to everyone in the same way, okay, and you would like to you have to apply it the way you apply it to yourself, maybe that also can bring to the fact that you receive everyone with a pleasant okay with a pleasant manner, and you're kind to other people, okay, and maybe that's what he's also getting at. Now let's see what the Bartanura says about say little and do much. Okay, and he's saying that this is found in our forefather Avram, who at first said, I will fetch a morsel of bread. So we know at the occasion where the Avram is sitting after his Brit Milah, he's sitting outside the tent and he sees these three people. He doesn't even know they're angels at the time. We only later discovered that they're angels. Okay, but he goes over to them and tells them, come to my tent and I'll serve you some bread, right? And then what's the next thing we see him do? He runs to his herds. He goes. He makes a feast. All right, a whole. He goes and he catches a young veal and he prepares him and he tells Sarah go and make cakes and a whole bunch of things. But all he said was, "Come, I'll serve you some bread."
Right.
Okay, and from there we learn that um, don't speak too highly. All right, speak to the minimum. Say, hey, come and join from there. And then once you've done that, go ahead and when you're in action, go all out. But when you're just saying, when you're just or implying something, don't make promises you can't keep. Um, so I think that is the main teaching here is that don't over or don't brag in what you're able to do. Just say the minimum, but when you do a lot. And another thing that I think, and that also brings us back to Yirmiyahu, okay, saying, don't glorify yourself in whatever it is you have. Okay, be humble, and be aware. But once you're active, do a lot, and I think from that we can also understand. Um, we can better understand the pasuk in Psalms that's bringing underneath. Turn from evil and do good. Okay, so I think this also is touching on exactly that. Okay, there's always, okay, there's always the do and the don't, right? We have mitzvot aseh and mitzvot lo ta'aseh. There's what you should be doing and what you should stay away from. And I think the Rambam, not the Rambam, the Bartanura here and Shammai really is here is telling us exactly that. Okay, how do you stay away from evil? You don't brag. You're humble. You say very little, and then when you do, you exceed that far, far more, as we saw in Abraham, right? He said a little piece of bread, but when he went and he actually did, it was a whole. He took a tender and good calf. All right, let's see the end of the Bartanura and receive every person. When you welcome guests into your home, do not give to them while your face is lowered. For anyone who gives with their face downcast, even if he gave him all the gifts in the world, it is considered as though he gave him nothing at all. Shammai warned of three things corresponding to the three virtues mentioned in Yirmiyahu: wise, mighty, and wealthy. Regarding wise, he said, make your Torah fixed. Okay, right? So the Torah, make your Torah fixed, that speaks for wisdom. Okay, we know the Torah is considered wisdom. Hi chochmatchem uvinatchem, right? The Torah is our wisdom. So to what Yirmiyahu is saying, not let the wise man glory himself in wisdom. Shammai says, make your Torah a fixed practice. Regarding wealthy, he says, say little and do much. Okay. Regarding mighty, he says, receive every person with a cheerful continuance. That one should conquer his inclusion and fight against his evil heart. And as we have learned, who is the mighty? Who conquers his inclusion? All right. How does this have to do with might? Okay. I heard a nice share about this, and I'll ask a question, and we'll get to the subject. Okay, we're here in Africa, so this is maybe even better to bring it this way. What do you call a pack of leopards
In English.
in English?
Leopard don't live in packs. They are solitary animals.
Okay, what do you call a pack of cats? A pack of cheetahs. Once again, the answer is the same, right? They're solitary animals.
Yeah.
What do you call a pack of lions?
A pride.
A pride. Okay? Now, when we say, be mighty like a lion, okay, gibor ka'ari, hey, why is a lion pack called a pride? Because they're the only cats who live in a pack, okay? It's against cat nature, we'll say it in that way. It's against cat nature to live in a pack. The only cat who does that is the lion, okay? And when we say be mighty like a lion, it doesn't mean be forceful, right? It's an intimidating animal, a lion. That's not what we mean. We mean hold your grudges and your dislikes to other people and find a way to live together. That's the might of the lion. That is where a lion shows his true might. And same here. Ezu gibor hakovesh et Yitzro. Okay, you want to be mighty? Hold your instinct to react so quickly. Find a way to get over your disputes and whatever it may be that you have with other people, and find a way to live together. Okay?
That's
And-
interesting. And that's
and-
not easy.
What's that?
That's not easy.
It's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but that is what makes the lion. That's when we say be a lion. The reasoning is not because the lion is a big, forceful animal, but rather because it acts against nature in the way that it's a cat that lives in a pack. So the same goes here, that I was talking about might, and also Shammai is talking might in the meaning that your might or your gevura, okay, because might and gevura might not be the best translation, but this gevura is exactly that. Is the human relationships and the way you conduct your attitude towards other people. That is a true test to your character, and I think we can all relate to that. Right? That it's the people, mostly the people we're in close proximity to, is the ones we encounter every day, that really put your character to test. And that brings us back again to the pasuk in Psalms. So turn from evil and do good, but also seek peace and pursue it. Okay, and I think this is the three things that Shammai is talking about also. Okay, so the turn from evil is the say little and do much, right? We said that that has that aspect to it, that you're humble. You're staying away from bragging and from things that might cause you to do evil. But on that's not the end of it. Then the next part is you have to be active, okay? And for that reason, Shammai is everything we said, right, is very active. Make your Torah study. Make your Torah study a fixed practice. Say little, but that's not enough. Okay, it's not just don't speak. No. Say little, but do much. All right, be active, and receive every person with a pleasant demeanor. Is exactly that. Is to seek peace and pursue it. Okay, and I think also here there's a duality in the phrasing. Okay, so on the one hand, you have to seek peace, but that's not enough. All right, you also have to be active and pursue it. Okay, so not just okay, it's very nice and say, all right, ah, I want peace. I want peace. No. You have to work hard for peace. All right, let's see Ibn Ezra's commentary on the same pasuk. Turn from evil refers to negative commandments. All right, so as we said, to the mitzvot lotas, the ones that are saying, okay, and think of that. There's, I think if I remember correctly, there are more mitzvot lotaseh than there are mitzvot aseh. So think how many mitzvot you're doing at this pleasant moment when you're not doing anything. Okay, um, so that's the negative commandments, but that's only a beginning. The next part has to be do good, and that refers to the positive commandments. All right? So everything that you should be doing. And if you do those two, I think it builds inside your character, and as part of you, you become the same person who seeks peace. For it is not proper for children to seek the power and to dominate one another. All right? So once you do both of that, you refrain from evil, and you pursue the good, you build in yourself a character where you understand Hashem is the one ruling, and I'm where I am because of that. And then you don't seek power and dominance over another person, and that will also bring you to accept everyone with a pleasant demeanor. Okay, and that's what Shammai is referring to. All right, that brings us to the end of today's. Any question?
These people were angels.
No, but wait, I want to touch on that comment. All right, they were not. Okay,
Yes.
right? They were very high people and not too great, but they were human. All right, and I think that's what it's important to remember. They were human. They understood human nature very well.
Because the last one, like, it is not proper for children to seek power and dominate one another. Like, people do this like all the time. Like, it's part of human nature. And
Right.
so if you are not like careful of yourself, someone will, and they will do you bad. So you have to be constantly like looking how you can be. Exactly.
But that
So if you
that
say
also,
this-
but if you you turn from evil,
Yes.
and you also understand, all right, this person is looking, this is a person of mischievous, this is an evil person, and you just stay away.
So what comes if learning from a person, then you keep that distance?
Again,
The way you are putting it, my question is, once you learn that someone is evil, you keep your distance from the person?
definitely. I think that's what you're required to do.
I also love this idea of Judaism that although sometimes it's interesting, somebody hurts you and for your own good, not the other person's good. You try and work with yourself and forgive and let go.
I think it depends. Okay, someone wants to harm you. What we're told is, someone comes to harm you.
Children first.
Yes, exactly. Okay, but I think that's on the let's say on the
Extreme side.
yes, it's also on the extreme side, but it's also on the physical. Okay, on the psychological. What you do is you just stay away. Okay.
Like I love it in the bedtime Shema where they say, everybody who's angered me, everybody who's done this to me, I forgive them.
I forgive them. Yes.
Yeah, and yet,
You are reading, but you're not, it's not happening in your heart.
So that's why it says, fix the practice to your Torah study.
No, but I think it's first of all, bringing yourself to say the words is already a step in the right direction.
Okay.
But I think it also brings you to an understanding that, as we mentioned before, you're at a certain place or you're in a certain situation because Hashem decided to put you there. All right? And once you understand that, you understand that this person angered you or hurt you. Okay, he's there for a reason. Okay, now whatever that may be, maybe, right? Maybe it's to tempt you, maybe it's to anger you, maybe it's to, but it's once it's there to teach you. Okay, you understand this is all Hashem's doing, and it's here to teach me a lesson. And I might not understand that lesson yet, and it might take some time, but it's not that person. Okay, it's not.
can be gentle.
Yes. Okay, and then I think it's also easier to find a place in your heart to forgive. Once you understand that this is all part of Hashem's plan, then you're okay.
It's easier said than done.
Yeah, because there are people who really force you to go to the extreme.
Yes.
Oh,
Really.
you have colleagues who
And
mess
you
you
have-
around and
You really need like to stand up.
Yeah.
It's once
It's
you
terrible.
already tend to think that you are a coward or they
Exactly.
step on you because they say, I step on them and they don't talk, so they, so until when
Oh,
you
but
say-
maybe the
When
lesson
does it
is to
stop?
speak up.
Yes.
Right? Maybe the lesson is to speak up.
Be active.
Okay.
you speak up, then it becomes a war.
And there are
Okay.
men who are very
So
good
the
with their
best thing is
mouths.
to cook and let them do their.
Have you ever met a man who is very good with the mouth?
Yes.
Oh, you said this, he says this, you said
Yeah,
this.
exactly.
And I'm not talkative and I don't know how to argue, so you let go, but in
No,
your heart,
I understand that in practice it's a little more difficult.
yeah,
But
your
sometimes,
heart.
okay, as we said, seeking of peace is one thing, but not all peace. Right? I think maybe we are taught in a way that peace is when everyone we all get along, we're all friends, we're picking flowers together or sitting around the campfire and singing kumbaya.
Yes.
That's not true. All right. As you said, life is a little more difficult than that. But I think real peace is the understanding, first of all, that we're all part, or everyone who appears in my life is part of Hashem's plan. Okay? And we know that Shalom is one of Hashem's names. All right? And it also comes from the word Shalem, meaning whole. Okay? So you have to see the whole picture. You have to understand that there's a greater thing. And once you realize that, even these people who, upset you, you find it, let's say, in some sort of harmony of everything. Okay? So, yes, there are people who you have to say, give me the strength. You have to pray, give me the strength so I can deal with this. But But another thing, what I wanted to say is, yes, that is part of it is seeking the peace, but let's not forget the other part is that you have to be active. Okay, so I don't know. Sometimes you have to find a way to deal with this, but there's a reason this person is upsetting you, and there's a way for you to handle it correctly. Okay, so, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a war, but, and I say this carefully, especially around, people or colleagues, arguments and what we would think is a war are not necessarily bad. I mean, I can think of definitely, some of my childhood friends that sometimes the fact that you threw some punches just brought you closer together.
Exactly.
All right, and sometimes that's what conflict does, right? I mean, imagine a married couple who doesn't fight at all. You see that, you're saying, all right, there's not a chance they love each other because nothing is they're not passionate about anything enough in order to even argue. Okay, so that's what I'm saying is that the fact that there's a dispute and the fact that there's an argument doesn't necessarily mean that there's hate, and doesn't necessarily mean that peace can't be that I'll say that that's not part of the pursuing of peace.
Okay, we do
Okay.
all these things with peace in mind.
Yes.
With peace in mind. So,
In the practice,
that is what I'm telling you. Even if whatever happens, you feel like you can explode, but you remember there's this. So you go in a corner, relax, and you're not a very happy man. Yeah, these things happen, and we have always read this, and it's good you're emphasizing. But I think it's on us to know how best to handle them.
Yes. I mean that's I'd say that's part of the
This is life.
that's part of the journey.
Yeah.
Is to understand how you resolve conflict and how you overcome arguments. Once you find that, you really do realize that once you can overcome that is the true might, like we said. That's something to be proud about, just like the lions.
Yeah, it happens.
So I also
Let me
love
ask-
I also love the way you say it, that it's Hashem who's got the patience for it, not from it. Instead of taking it in a negative way, take it in a positive way. So just move away from the
There are times we collide with somebody.
Oh, but there's
I end
times
up-
where you
I
have
end up
to
asking
embrace the
myself,
conflict, and there's times where you say, listen, it's not worth my time.
This is what I'm telling you. Somebody comes and messes you up. You sit down and ask Hashem, did you really create this soul? You're so worked up. You don't know what to do.
And he's not stopping.
And he's not
Move
even
away,
bothered.
he follows you. And then you wonder, what did I do?
No, it's not me. I ask Hashem, did you really create this soul to disturb me? And there are no answers.
There's, I think in the Gemara they're saying that every person should walk with two notes, It's two things to keep inside in his mind all the time. I think that's the true meaning. Okay, so two notes you should always carry on. On one, it says Anochi afar va'efer, meaning I am dirt, I'm nothing. But on the other, it says Bishvili nimra olam. So this whole world was created for me. And yes, as humans, I think we always live somewhere in between that. That on the other hand, I think part of consciousness is knowing that you're. First of all, I think we're the only creature who knows he's going to die, right? But we're limited on the one hand, but on the other hand, it's also knowing that you are part of the creation of Hashem, and you are, in fact, your soul is from Him, and that makes you infinite, okay, and borderless, and you're somewhere in between there all the time.
I like your
Let
words.
me ask you, where now do you draw the thin line between how you Amalek and how today's Mishnah is?
Explain.
God said he'll fight Amalek in
Right.
the end. And this is a very crazy. It's not crazy, but this is
It's very extreme, yes.
exactly.
Okay, and the other hand, this Mishnah?
And how do you then apply this to that? How do you apply that?
Because,
Because this is a shell now.
yes, no, I realize, but I think even, first of all, even in Shammai times, Amalek as a nation didn't exist anymore. But the command stays, right? And I think the command back then, and more so today, is that the Amalek we're fighting is it's a thought, all right? It's an ideology that we're fighting against, and that ideology is what was Amalek's big sin?
They fought against Israel.
You said
Not that they fought against Israel, because many they were the first ones to attack. Okay, it's not the fact that they attacked; it was that they were the first one to attack. To say, okay, this nation, they're just like everyone else. We can attack them and we can win, or it's not even a question of we can win or not, right? Because maybe Amalek wasn't in it for it. It's just the fact that we can attack. Okay, and that's the thought that we have to fight against, and I'd say completely obliterate. Okay, so we have to wipe it out completely. But that doesn't necessarily, definitely, back in the time of the Tanakh, it was very easy. This was the nation of Amalek, and we fought against them, and we almost got to the point that we did, and we have the whole story with Shaul HaMelech. Anyway, and that's what led us to Purim, which is coming up. But definitely nowadays, it's a command that stands against the thought of Amalek. That and I think that thought is that Am Yisrael is, just another nation, or nothing. I'd say there's nothing special about them, and that's the thought we have to fight. And that obviously spreads out to, I think, all the anti-Semitism that we see and brings it forward. But I think today what we have to do is the distinction between the thought and the people. Now, that's not coming to say that there are people who are so invested in this thought that the only way to get rid of them is to physically, kill the people. But that's not true to say about everyone. Okay? So I think that's where the line is.
So you think it's best to engage, to fight, to terminate the ideology than to engage them physically?
Yes, I think it has to be about the ideology. Okay? And you know who Amalek is today? You walk around and you see someone, you say, oh, he's an Amalekite. No, you have no idea.
But the ideology spread all over.
Right?
Yeah, so I think.
Guess what? So are Jews.
So I think we have a bigger role to play.
Always. Okay, thank you very much for those who joined from home. And I hope to see you, next week it's Purim, so we won't have a lesson, but the week after. All right.
Tuesday will be Purim.
Tuesday during the day is Purim.
Okay.